What's up, everybody? My name's Mike, and today I'm going to be reviewing Scream from 1996. The reason I'm reviewing Scream 1996 is because it's the start of my new series I'm going to be doing of reviewing all the Scream films up until Scream 7. And I'm just doing this out of excitement for the new film, and I'm doing this out of excitement for what's to come with the franchise. And it's my first series of reviews on this channel. And let's start it out with a bang. Scream opened up with Drew Barrymore playing Casey Becker, who she was actually supposed to be the main role of Sidney Prescott, but she turned that down to be the opening kill and to play Casey Becker. And I think that was a perfect decision on her part because, they set up with the posters to have her character be the main character throughout the film. And starting the film with her death is something that's never been done before. After this, we get our first look at Sidney Prescott, and we also get our first look at Billy Loomis. And I don't know about you guys, but the first time I saw this movie, he always seemed very suspicious. He was always weird. The way they made him act in this film was perfect because they made us think that he was the killer from first off, but because it was so obvious, it made us doubt that he would be the killer because, it wouldn't be that obvious. And I think that was genius on Wes Craven and genius on Kevin Williamson, and that was a perfect way to set up a twist in the ending. An example of this is just such as when he was speaking with Sidney, and then he talks about, I was watching The Exorcist and it made me think of you. Like, that's some weird stuff, bro. Like, what part of The Exorcist is gonna make you think of your girlfriend? Like, I'm not trying to be rude on this dude, but, like, come on. Like, that's some weird stuff. That's, like, blatantly obvious that he's probably a serial killer. After this, we get introduced to other characters, such as Gale Weathers, which has always been one of my favorite characters of the franchise, because she's always sassy, and she's always doing her job. And I think it's so important that she cares about her job. But also, she can be rude, obviously. But when people need her, she's always there. And she's always willing to help the others. And I think that's perfect for her character. And from this first film, I've realized that she's had so much character development from this first film. It's honestly insane. But it's amazing at the same time. Amazing writing from whoever wrote her character this way. So Kevin Williamson and, Wes Craven or who else has been working on this has really done a well and great job with her character development. And in the later films, she has more heart and more emotion attached to her character. And her relationship with Dewey in all these films is great and realistic. And I love that about it. And talking about Dewey, another character we get introduced to, he was great in this film. And I'm kind of sad he got killed off in Scream 5, but that's something to talk about another day when I review that film. But Dewey in this film was very likable. He definitely cared about others. He cared about Sidney, and he treated Sidney with kindness and respect like she was his sister or family. And I love that about his character, that no matter who it is, he's always going to respect them and always going to be kind to them. And that's great for his character. And the friend group, so Tatum, Stu, Billy, Randy, which is a great character who was literally predicting the killers and nobody believed him. Tatum is also a great character, Dewey's sister and Sidney's best friend. She's always respectful to Sidney, not too respectful to Dewey, but it's fine because they're siblings. But yeah, let's dive into the last 30-40-ish minutes. Let's go. Alright, so the principal's death was epic. That really set the tone for, the finale of the film. And yeah, I love the vibe of that scene. I love how Ghostface just comes out of nowhere. And I love how the principal was wearing the mask, like kind of messing around in there. And then Ghostface just comes out of nowhere that just makes this film just seem so much more realistic. Like, anybody can do any of that and just snap. And so, like, that happens sometimes in real life. I mean, it sucks, but that's just how life goes for some people. And it just makes this film a lot more scary when you know that it can happen. Alright, the party scene. The thing that sets up the big finale. The party was all it needed to be. It needed to be suspenseful, it needed to be funny, it needed to be awesome, and it really was. Everything that happened in that party was great. Character development, characters, dying, setting the stakes for the franchise, killing off people that we came to love throughout the film, and setting up the tone for what's next to come. And this ending sets up the relationship between Dewey and Gale, which is a relationship that goes throughout the whole series until eventually one of the characters die. If you don't know, well, click away. But, of course, Dewey dies in Scream 5, made in 2022. And my review for that's going to be coming out soon. Like I said, I'm going to have a bunch of reviews for the whole franchise, but besides the point. This sets up their relationship. They've been through so much together, but this is the start of all the things that they've been through. And I think it was a great way. They were already starting to fall for each other when they were just taking that walk, and then they had that Ghostface attack, and then they separate. Gale comes back and her freaking cameraman is sliced by the throat. She tries to drive away and there's just blood all over her car. And, that was some crazy stuff, but it was great for a horror movie. Like, it was great suspense, and I was horrified for her character and not think she was going to make it out alive. And then, of course, when Dewey separates, he goes in the house, finds, I'm pretty sure, Randy on the couch, and then he starts to walk away and gets stabbed in the back and causes permanent nerve damage, so he always has a limp throughout the rest of the series. And that was a huge part for his character, for not only character development, but just, him being able to come back after being attacked so badly, and something that pretty much ruined his life. Not that he hates his life after this, but this was a huge moment for his character. And then, of course, Billy Loomis and Stu Macher, the two killers. That was a great twist and a great ending for their characters. Obviously, people still think that Stu is still alive, but I like how they had Sidney kill off both of those characters. Well, technically not both, but I loved how she put the TV on his head. That was crazy. And then she became Ghostface and called Billy and ended up stabbing Billy with a flag. And that was great. That was some great stuff. And then also, Gale came in, shot him in the head. That was some great stuff. But I also liked when Stu came in the house. Sidney was like hugging him, and because she was frightened, and he ended up shooting freaking Randy. Like, that was insane. That was sick. And yeah, that was just a great way to set up the ending. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Scream 2 review will be coming out soon, this week, probably tomorrow. And then the rest of the Scream reviews will be coming out before Scream 7. Then obviously I'll do a Scream 7 review, and most likely 2 or 3 videos on that, because I've been anticipating that for so long. And I just hope it ends up being good with all its controversy and stuff. But I'm still excited to see it. Hopefully you guys are too. And yeah, have a good day, everybody. Good night, good evening, whenever you're watching this. And yeah, make sure to like and subscribe if you're up to it. And yeah, peace.